Hey everyone, it's Sevy. Welcome to my guide on how to beat floor 11 and 12 of the 4.7 cycle. The enemies here are quite familiar, but the multiple waves in floor 12 can make this one pretty challenging. As usual, this video discusses strategies and tips to help you beat the chambers more easily. I'll just flash some very general reminders before you tackle Pyro Abyss, which you can pause to take a quick read. This Abyss Blessing increases an active character's normal attack damage for 10 seconds after they use their skill, and these normal attacks can periodically trigger true damage shockwaves against opponents. So if you have normal attack focused units, that can make it easier for you, but it's not really necessary. Floor 11 has a 60% Electro and Hydro damage bonus Leyline Disorder. There is a Defend the Monolith chamber, and it's all slimes here, so it's best to bring elements that are effective against the slimes elements in each half. The first half has Pyro and Electro slimes, so Hydro and Pyro teammates respectively helped me against them. Having an Animo unit can also help by swirling their elements onto each other and crowd controlling them. Hydro and Electro can also help against the Fatui Pyro Slinger's armor, but isn't really necessary if you can kill them fast enough. On this half, I used a Heizou National team. For the second half, the first chamber is against Hydro and Cryo Slimes. Again, using elemental counters or Animo is recommended. There are also Hydro Phantasms on the second chamber, so similar elements will be useful. And the Dendro Chicken is back in the last chamber, which a Quicken team is really effective against. For this half, I used a Sethos Aggravate team. But before we get into that, let me first introduce today's sponsor. Get in beat with the Ensemble Stars music, the immersive mobile rhythm game that comes with a cast of all-star JP voice actors and a bittersweet story written by light novelist Akira. Scout, train, and get to know these idol stories, show off your beat map skills, get the live experiences and MV performances, and enjoy tons of events just like the upcoming 2nd anniversary. The 2nd anniversary kicks off with a login event where you get these awesome bonuses including Scout tickets, diamonds, and limited chibi cards. There's also a new program for all producers where you can win more Scout tickets, diamonds, and a training item package. Then check out the 2nd anniversary limited original Scout Amazing Voyage featuring the Wataru Hibiki card alongside the new feature Dynamic card. Scout once for free every day on Celebration Scouts and get opportunities on older cards with the upcoming Revival Scouts. There's also MV outfits for idols to show off at the MVs of brand new stars, Walk With Your Smile, and Fujionic stars. And during the show, producers can activate fireworks and accumulate XP to upgrade your star. There's so much waiting for new and current producers at Ensemble Stars Music this 2nd anniversary, so download it through the link in the description and enjoy beautiful performances of idols. Thank you Ensemble Stars Music for sponsoring. Now let's get back to it. We start with a wave of Electro and Pyro slimes. Most of the slimes will approach the monolith, then do a jumping attack onto it. I mainly tried to keep knocking the slimes away with my character's abilities like Animo Vortex abilities or using Pyro to overload and knock back the Electro slimes. The Pyro and Electro slimes will spawn across each other, and it will be a lot of back and forth of killing or pushing them away. Try not to stay too close to the monolith. When you're trying to meet the new slimes that spawn, try going around the monolith instead of trying to cross over it. That way, if a slime targets you with its attacks, it won't accidentally hit the monolith as well. Try to also keep your camera on the monolith so you can see which next waves of slimes are approaching it. Staying above 80% here is a safe goal.
Everybody stand back! Rain Cutter! No, my sword!
Bring it up!
In the second half, it's Hydro and Cryo Slimes this time. The Cryo Slimes are more threatening here since they have a shield, but those can be destroyed faster with Pyro or Electro. Be wary of their elemental attacks, which makes you prone to getting frozen. Attacking slimes will usually aggro them towards you, so get their attention, then try to keep some distance away from the monolith while they attack you. Having AoE attacks that can hit the Hydro slimes while they gather around the monolith will help take care of them quickly. Animo groupers will also help a lot to crowd control them. Just like the previous half, be aware of the monolith and if the slimes are dangerously close to it.
Excuse me? The sage's wisdom!
Coming through! Odds reveal by stand clear!
On to the second chamber first half. This just has 2 waves of Geo Bishops, which is a pretty straightforward fight. I go back to the spawn point, so they will leap towards me and group together. This is where the next wave will spawn too, so I can just stay in place. If they stay alive long enough, they'll get Pyro and Electro abilities, but that's not really a problem.
Let's light it up! Go ahead! You're toast! Go back! Get
Fracture!
Witness the power! Teamwork is strength!
Yeah!
Let's light it up!
Bring it on!
No, my...
For this next half, we have 2 Hydro Phantasms. The smaller one does melee attacks while the taller one can do ranged attacks. Go to the ranged one's side so that the melee one groups tighter, and you can use your AoE attacks to damage them simultaneously. These enemies can hit really hard, so having a shielder, healer, and damage reduction effects is recommended. If you have Pyro units, then it's easy to trigger Vaporize on them. With a Dendro unit, you can trigger Bloom to create cores, which you can then trigger reactions on too.
Into space!
Next, the third chamber starts with 3 Fatui, 2 of them being Pyro Slingers, which can jump away from you. You can run to one side so that when one of them jumps backwards, it groups them closer to the other. Or if you have a grouper, just crowd control them together and kill them with AoE attacks. Then a pair of Ruined Drakes will spawn, which is another straightforward fight. They can be disabled by hitting their glowing weak points if you prefer.
No, my sword! Let me lead you. Teamwork is dreamwork! Left! Bubba, get them! You're toast!
Fracture!
In this last half, we just have the Jade Plume Terror Shroom, which many of you are already likely familiar with. Hitting it with Electro and Quicken reactions will make it enraged, after which it does a raging animation, then it will be stunned and its resistances get reduced, which is the best time to damage it. But it doesn't require particularly strict elemental counters, so as long as you have the damage for it, this should be easy enough. Just be careful if you use Pyro, since that will make it spawn more shrooms. Moving on to floor 12. The first half is mainly a DPS check, but against ASIMON, using a Quicken team, or at least an Electro teammate, can make things a lot easier. The second half is the more challenging side. The first chamber needs good Hydro and or Electro application for the Pyro Abyss mages, and especially the Pyro Lectors. Having very good sustains is also important. The Pyro Lectors can drain your HP, there are 2 Rift Hounds in the second chamber which can drain your HP, and if you're not great at dodging, the Consecrated Beasts in the last chamber can be a bit worrisome. The Consecrated Beasts are very resistant against their own elements, but the same elements can also be used against them by destroying their summoned energy structures. This time, I'm going to use a different team to clear the first chamber, which will be a Reverse Melt team and Taser team respectively. Then I'll switch back to the previous floor 11 teams for the second and third chamber, with Aggravate for the first half and National for the second half. This half has 4 waves, so get ready. The primal constructs are rather straightforward since they're somewhat easy to group and hit with AoE attacks. If they manage to turn invisible, triggering a Quicken reaction will make them reappear and stun them.
Dodge this!
Next is a Lone Ruin Guard, which you'll want to run to kill it ASAP. Though, if you're placing down abilities, try to position them close towards the next spawn point. Then there are 2 Ruined Drakes. Try to keep them grouped with each other by keeping them in front of you and pushing them towards one another, so you can easily kill them with AoE attacks. In some cases, they can move away too far from one another, which I notice usually happens if you're between them. That can noticeably delay your clear time.
Judgment!
Freeze!
Last are two Eremites. They immediately summon their pets, which you can prioritize killing first to stun the Eremites and make them easier to kill. I recommend targeting the bow user first, though the bird can sometimes stay away, so you might have to chase it briefly just to kill it.
Judgment! Everybody stand back!
In the next half of 3 waves, we start with 2 Pyro Abyss Mages and a Dendro Samachurl. Be careful of getting inflicted with burning, but if you have good Hydro and or Electro application, you can disable the Pyro Mages quickly, and the Dendro Churl is easy to kill. Next are 2 Pyro Lectors. To group them, one option is stagger and push them towards the other first. Once they are grouped, balance the damage dealt to each other so that they enter their armored state simultaneously. Another option is to run towards the edge and keep them lined up in your sight, so the farther one will move closer towards the other one, which will cause them to group up more easily.
Mark 2! By royal decree! Animal 6308!
Anyway, once they have their armor, Hydro and Electro will be the most effective in reducing their bars. If they drop a big pyro ball, kill it ASAP with elemental application, and this takes out a chunk of their shield. Try to dodge the flames on the ground as you do so, because getting hit by them can mark you and cause you to periodically lose HP. The last wave has 2 Animo Serpent Knights. These are somewhat straightforward to kill, but are quite tanky. If they hit you while you're shielded, their attack gets buffed and they can blink away. But that's not too bad, so avoiding shielders isn't necessary here.
Animal test 60 power the ended Python! Absorption test! Swirl, mark 6!
So from here, I restart floor 12 and change my teams. Next is a lone Maguu Kenki in the center. Regenerate energy if needed while it gets up, then deal damage to make it reach 70% HP.
Reveal! Animal test 6308!
Beam! Excuse me?
Wait for its invulnerability charging attack to finish and dodge it. From here, it can be random how long it stays in one place, but it will eventually teleport away every now and then, so it'll be a bit of a chase here. Make sure to dodge its big attacks since they can stagger or one-shot you. Unlike the past Maguu Kenki Abyss versions, this one can't be pinned to a wall, so just time your abilities to damage it when it stays in place and be prepared to chase it or reset if the run is bad.
Sage's wisdom! Excuse.
Absorption test!
Moving on, we have several waves here again, which start with 2 Kairagi. You can edge bait them to group them up, or just immediately go after them and keep positioning yourself so that when they attack you, they still stay close to one another. Balance their HP and kill them at the same time to avoid the other regenerating their HP.
Fall before me and you!
Then there's 2 Numa mechs, which you can also push towards one another and kill with AoE attacks, or just go after them one by one if you have good single target damage anyway.
Get them! Let's light it up! Rain cutter!
Next are 2 Geo Rift Hounds. They tend to move around a lot, but at least they won't stray too far from you, so AoE attacks should still manage them just fine. Just keep an eye on your HP if you get hit by corrosion.
Witness the power of Gugwa! Know my soul! Everybody stand back! I'm right here!
Fracture!
You're toast!
Then last are a trio of mechs. I try to prioritize the construction mech first since it can be the most annoying and the other mech seems to follow you anyway. But your AoE attacks should definitely deal some collateral damage to the other two and ideally kill them along the way. Watch out for the construction mech's spinning attack too, which can stagger you a lot. The first half is another boss fight, ASIMON this time. When it goes invisible, it will teleport forward in the direction it was facing. You can also deal damage or use the debuff and elemental indicators, which makes tracking it easy. Triggering Quicken on it will stun it and lower its resistance, which is the best time to deal damage to it.
As you wish.
Stand clear. Enhanced animal module.
Move to Al-Akbar!
Once it gets back up, protect yourself from its attacks and repeat the process.
Reveal. Animal test 6308.
Sage's wisdom!
Wings of darkness. Swirl. Mark. Sign here, please.
Way ahead!
Finally, it's one last multi-wave fight. First are some Fatui. Target the gunners first and make them jump towards the other for easier grouping. Use Hydro or Electro against their Pyro shields if it goes up. The agent will more or less follow you around, so it's easy to deal collateral damage against it.
Bring it on!
Let me read you a verse. Everybody stand back. Let's light.
Then we get a consecrated vulture flanked by some seahorses. This part is mainly a DPS check. You can try focusing on the seahorses since the vulture will follow you around anyway. It gets very annoying since you can get pushed around a lot. The consecrated beast attacks also hit very hard, so have the shielding or healing you need to stay alive and dodge as necessary.
Witness the power.
Get me back! Truth hurts!
When it summons the energy structure, destroy it to deal a lot of damage, stun the beast, and reduce its resistances. One hit of Pyro attack will destroy the structure, while other elements are slower. The last wave is similar, this time with a consecrated scorpion and pyro crabs. Again, you can try focusing on the crabs while dealing collateral damage to the consecrated beast. When the beast summons its energy structure, destroy it as well, with an electro attack being the fastest method.
Nice and spicy. Why do they never miss? Rain outlines your fate. Let me read.
Get through me!
Everybody stand! Out of frying pan into the fire!
Bring it up!
And that's it for this cycle's Abyss Guide. Comment down below what you think of the enemies in this Abyss cycle and what teams you use to take them down. If this video helped you out, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all soon. Take care!
Benny's adventure team, assemble! I created another...